We're here to take complex stuff, break it down, and really get to the heart of what you need to know. Today, we are plunging into a really fascinating legal battle. Potentially landscape altering, actually. In the gaming world, we've gathered a whole stack of sources, the actual legal filings, news reports, expert analysis, all of it. And it's all focused on this one major lawsuit that could fundamentally reshape how we think about fan-made content, intellectual property, the whole deal in online gaming. So, our mission today, let's unpack this high-stakes legal challenge. Blizzard Entertainment, creators of the iconic World of Warcraft, versus Turtle World of Warcraft, a popular private server operation. This isn't just like a minor disagreement. It feels more like a multi-front war. We'll get into the specific accusations, the legal strategies Blizzard's using, and crucially, what does this all mean? For players, developers, the future of these online communities. It's a big one. Could redefine who owns these digital worlds we spend so much time in. And as we'll see, Blizzard isn't messing around. They're even pulling out legal tools usually meant for, well, organized crime. Which brings us right to the core of it, right? Intellectual property, ownership, those blurry lines around fan creativity. But to really get the scale, we need the specifics. Who exactly is Blizzard targeting here, and what are they accused of?
Yeah, what's really striking, beyond just the scale, is how specific Blizzard is being. They filed this lawsuit back on August 29, 2025, U.S. District Court, Central District of California. And it's not just aimed at one person, The defendants are, well, numerous. And spread out. You've got the Turtle World of Warcraft entity itself, this Hong Kong company, AFK Craft Ltd, and then over 10 named individuals. Yeah. And they're everywhere. Russia, Germany, the US, Netherlands, Bulgaria, Romania, Czech Republic. It's a global net they're casting. This isn't some small online spat. It feels like a coordinated multinational legal offensive against what Blizzard sees as a pretty organized operation.
Okay, so with that kind of global reach for the defendants, what exactly is Blizzard alleging? What are the core arguments? What makes Turtle World of Warcraft the target?
Blizzard's painting a picture of something way beyond just a casual fan server. They're saying the defendants built this huge private server operation. First, it explicitly emulates the official World of Warcraft server, so it offers an alternative place to play outside Blizzard's ecosystem. Second, and this is key for copyright, they allege distribution of pirated World of Warcraft client software. That's a direct hit on Blizzard's IP. Third, these unauthorized servers are hosting Blizzard's copyrighted stuff, assets, characters, lore, but also fan-made expansion content. The big one there is something called Mysteries of Azeroth, which even Blizzard admits is pretty extensive.
It's fan-made content, right. That's always a tricky area.
Definitely. And fourth, maybe the most contentious part for Blizzard is the money. Turtle World of Warcraft asks for donations, but Blizzard argues these are basically payments. You donate, you get in-game rewards, custom mounts, pets, cosmetic stuff. Blizzard's filing suggests this could be hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, so not pocket change.
Millions.
Yeah. And beyond that core stuff, Blizzard points to their marketing, social media, influencers, gives it a professional look, and even plans they apparently had for a Turtle World of Warcraft 2.0 using Unreal Engine 5, graphical upgrades. It points towards a long-term, sophisticated plan, not just a hobby project.
Right. So Blizzard clearly sees this as a business, a revenue-generating one, not just fans having fun. And it's not just the money Turtle World of Warcraft might be making, but the damage Blizzard claims they're suffering, isn't it? Our sources show Blizzard alleging direct loss of subscriptions to official World of Warcraft, splitting their player community, even potential security risks for players on these unofficial servers, and importantly, brand confusion. Like players might think Turtle World of Warcraft is somehow approved by Blizzard.
Exactly. It's a multifaceted argument about harm, and that leads into their legal strategy. It's this list of 9 specific legal counts, designed to cover, well, everything they see is wrong here. You've got multiple types of copyright infringement, basically, the mass copying and sharing of the World of Warcraft client and assets without permission. That's the bedrock. Then there's inducement to infringe copyrights, basically encouraging users to download and play the illegal stuff. And when they add contributory and vicarious copyright infringement, they're saying the operators are responsible for enabling and profiting from the piracy, even if they didn't personally pirate the initial copy, holds them accountable for the whole system.
Okay, standard copyright claims may be amplified.
Yeah.
But it gets more complex, doesn't it? They don't stop there.
Not at all. And this is where the legal muscle really shows. Beyond copyright, they claim trafficking and circumvention technology. Simply put, that's about getting around World of Warcraft's technical protections, the digital locks, essentially that stop unauthorized connections.
Breaking the DRM.
Right. And then intentional interference with contractual relations. They argue Turtle World of Warcraft is causing players to break the World of Warcraft and user license agreement, the ELA.
That long thing everyone clicks agree on without reading.
That's the one. It's a contract. Blizzard says running the server makes players violate that contract, plus false designation of origin using Blizzard's logos and trademarks, making it look official when it's not, confusing players. But the claims that really escalate things turn this from a typical IP fight into something much bigger, participation in a RICO enterprise, and engaging in a RICO conspiracy. RICO, Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act.
RICO. Like mob movie, right? Go.
Kind of, yeah. It's
Right.
usually associated with organized crime. Blizzard is framing Turtle World of Warcraft's operation as exactly that, an organized criminal enterprise engaged in a pattern of illegal activity. It carries incredibly severe penalties, not just civil damages, but potentially triple damages. And it can even, theoretically, lead to criminal charges. It's a very, very aggressive tactic. Signals they see this as a major systemic threat.
That is aggressive, framing it as organized crime.
Mm.
But does taking that kind of stance risk backlash? You know, making Blizzard look like the big bad corporation crushing fan enthusiasm.
Yeah.
And what's the end game for Blizzard here? What do they actually want beyond sending a message?
That's always the tightrope walk with public perception in these cases, isn't it? But legally, Blizzard wants a decisive win, the main goal. An injunction. Shut down Turtle World of Warcraft servers, website, everything. Stop it cold.
Okay, shut it down.
Then money. Big money. They're seeking damages up to $150,000 per infringed copyright. Given how much content is in World of Warcraft, that could easily hit tens of millions.
For copyright, yeah, that adds up fast.
And if those RICO charges actually stick, that opens the door to maybe trebling those damages, plus attorney fees, court costs. It becomes astronomical. The message is crystal clear. Make an example out of Turtle World of Warcraft, a warning to any other private server. It's also interesting, even Turtle World of Warcraft itself apparently acknowledges on its site something like, World of Warcraft remains the intellectual property of Blizzard Entertainment, which kind of weakens any argument they might make about owning what they build, at least for the base game.
Right. But considering how spread out these guys are, Russia, Germany, everywhere, how does Blizzard actually enforce anything? Especially in places like Russia, which might not be inclined to help a U.S. company. Like, you get a judgment in California. How do you make someone in Russia comply?
That's the million-dollar question in digital IP enforcement, isn't it? And you're right, it's tough, especially with Russia. Historically, Russia hasn't been super cooperative in enforcing foreign IP rights, particularly American ones. And the current political climate doesn't help. So yeah, suing operators in Russia via a U.S. court doesn't automatically mean Russian authorities will step in and shut things down. It's a real jurisdictional headache.
So, if going directly after operators in Russia is tricky, what's the alternative? Blizzard isn't just throwing their hands up, surely.
Yeah.
They must have other ways to apply pressure.
Exactly. They focus on what you could call the server's lifelines. They target the infrastructure that lets these servers operate globally, because most private servers, even with teams in Russia, rely on services outside Russia. Think hosting providers, payment processors, domain name registrars.
The company is actually running the tech and handling the money.
Precisely. And those companies are often in places where U.S. or international law does have teeth. Blizzard can hit these providers hard. DMCA takedown notices, that's the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, forcing hosting companies to remove the infringing stuff quickly. They can file copyright complaints, direct legal action against these third-party services, and since Turtle World of Warcraft clearly has players in North America and Europe,
They can sue people involved there directly.
right, even if the main devs are in Russia, anyone outside Russia helping run it, hosting, promoting, processing payments, they become targets in their local courts. It becomes a bit like legal whack-a-mole, but the consequences for those hit are real.
And the money trail. You mentioned that earlier. Cutting off the donations.
Absolutely crucial. If they're using PayPal, Stripe, Patreon, even crypto exchanges with links to the West, Blizzard can go after those payment channels. Financial institutions generally don't want legal trouble over IP disputes. They'll often freeze accounts or cut off service pretty fast when pressured legally.
Makes sense.
Now, theoretically, you've got international treaties like the Bernade Convention or a WIPO meant for cross-border IP protection. But realistically, with Russia's current political stance, direct cooperation through those channels is probably unlikely right now. So Blizzard focuses on the practical stuff, the bottom line. Their direct power inside Russia might be limited, but they have significant leverage to cut off the server's funding, its hosting, its global player access, its website domains. Effectively, they can isolate it. Maybe it could keep running underground just within Russia, but it becomes much harder to find, less stable, and way riskier for players anywhere else to connect to.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. This whole thing really shows this complex dance between legal moves, global networks, and the player community itself. Which brings up that big talking point, right? The community versus corporation angle. Is Blizzard just defending its property, its massive investment? Or are they potentially pushing away passionate fans who maybe just want something different, like a Classic Plus version of World of Warcraft that Blizzard hasn't made?
That's the philosophical heart of it, yeah. And the tension between what fans create and what companies own is fascinating here. Look at that Mysteries of Azeroth expansion on Turtle World of Warcraft. It's not just a tweak, it's a big fan-made addition. Blizzard themselves, in their own lawsuit, basically say this fan content is bigger than anything Blizzard ever greenlit for their official classic game versions.
Bigger than anything Blizzard greenlit. Wow.
Right. It throws that gray area into sharp relief. Where does fan creativity stop and infringements start? Especially when fans are making stuff quests, zones, lore that players clearly want, stuff the official developer hasn't provided. Often, players go to these servers because they offer that new spin on classic World of Warcraft, filling a gap they perceive.
And this isn't just about today's tech, is it? I saw sources mentioning Blizzard is worried about the future, about AI tools making private servers even more sophisticated. How does that change things?
Oh, absolutely. That adds a whole new layer. Imagine AI that can generate new quests, lore, even character models, all fitting seamlessly into World of Warcraft's style. Based on existing IP, but maybe technically original, it could make fan content almost indistinguishable from official stuff.
Making it harder to track, harder to prove infringement.
Exactly, exponentially harder, especially if the AI learns from public data. It makes this lawsuit almost a test case for how companies will handle that future, where fan innovation gets supercharged by AI. How do you police IP in that world?
A test case for the AI future.
Yeah, and looking at the bigger picture, the outcome here could set a huge precedent. If Blizzard wins big, gets the shutdown, massive damages. You could see other private servers shutting down preemptively, or maybe the whole scene just goes deeper underground. Harder to track, but riskier for everyone involved.
So more hidden, potentially sketchier.
Could be. This isn't just about World of Warcraft. It's about the future of fan engagement, digital creativity boundaries, IP protection, all colliding in this rapidly changing online world, especially with AI on the horizon.
Okay, we have covered a lot today. Really dug into Blizzard's case against Turtle World of Warcraft, the specific claims, those heavy-hitting ICRO charges, the clever ways they're trying to enforce it globally. We've seen how they aim to cut off those lifelines, even across difficult borders. But maybe the biggest thing, the core tension this case highlights, is that clash, isn't it? The passion of a fan community wanting specific content, maybe content the official devs aren't providing, versus a corporation needing to protect its IP, its revenue. It's fundamental.
It really is. And it leaves you, the listener, with some big questions to chew on as this all unfolds. How will cases like this reshape that line between fan creation and corporate ownership, especially as tech like AI evolves? What's the responsibility here? Should companies engage more with these passionate fans instead of just suing? And for players, where do you draw the line between enjoying fan work and supporting infringement? It's a debate that's definitely not going away. It's going to keep shaping digital entertainment for a long time to come.